So 2 years ago now, I launched my first YouTube channel, and since then it's grown to around 41,000 subscribers and has made me over six figures for my business. And the success of this channel has felt like everything I've worked so hard for over the past 5 years. But today, sitting down recording this video marks my decision to quit posting on this channel and start a new one right here. And so I'm going to get into more details about why I chose to do this from a strategy perspective. But first, I wanted to get into the deeper question, the more important question of how do you know when it's time to quit? When you have put so much effort and energy and worked so hard on something, how do you know when it's time to let that thing go and start something new? Now, if you've clicked on this video, I'm betting that this is also a question that you are wrestling with or have asked yourself at some point in your life. And it's a question that I have struggled to answer for myself in my own business time and time again over the last 8 years. And yes, I did say 8 years. I am not a 15-year-old boy. I know my appearance can be a little confusing, but I am a 30-year-old woman just trying to exist in the world with short hair. My name is Anna, and I've been an entrepreneur now for around 8 years, and I've been making content for about 5 years. And I kind of accidentally fell into this world of content and YouTube. I am an extremely introverted and shy person. I'm the quietest person in any room, and I kind of like that because people are super surprised when I say that this is what I do for a living. And I could never have imagined when I started that this would be my day. I started off creating content like most people do out of necessity because I wanted to grow my web design business. And as any of you watching this will know, if you want to grow any kind of business, especially today, then you have to be creating content. And so this was not something that I wanted to do. But as with anything, I think that being an entrepreneur, growing a business is a constant journey of self-discovery and a constant pursuit of finding the things that light you up and feel most aligned and uncovering your purpose. And so to my surprise, being the shy, introverted person that I am, I kind of started enjoying the content that I was making, and I was kind of good at it. And so posting content on TikTok allowed me to grow my web design business until I got 3 years in and I had all the clients that I needed for my business. And I found myself with this TikTok channel of around 40,000 subscribers. A lot of these people being other people who wanted to learn from me and wanted to learn how to become a web designer like I did. And so this was the point at which I moved from the first season of my business being a web designer, moving into the second season teaching other people how to do what I'd done. And this is when I started making content like this on YouTube. And so this is what I've been doing for the past 2 years now, and it's been a very fulfilling thing. It's been very enjoyable. It's been very successful. And the thing is, when something is really successful like this, when you have worked really, really hard to get to this place, it can be really hard and it can take a long time to admit that maybe it isn't serving you anymore. And sometimes it's time to let go of that season that you're in so you can enter into a new one. And I'm definitely someone who struggles with this. And this decision has kept me up at night for months. But I've now come to the decision that it's time to move into the next season of my business journey. And I'm going to get into what this looks like for me later in this video. But first, I want to get into how I knew it was time to let go of this season and enter the new one. Because on the other side of this, while there's a lot of times where you need to let things go and start something new, a lot of times this is actually the complete opposite of what you should be doing. A lot of times in business and in life, when you're doing something hard, when you're growing an audience or whatever it is that you're working on, there's always going to be this period of time where you are filled with self-doubt. You're not sure if what you're working on is going to pay off, or maybe it is paying off, but it's just not growing as fast as you want it to. And during this period of time, your only job is to keep going and avoid shiny object syndrome. Avoid getting distracted by all the new, shiny, and exciting things that you want to be doing, because all of those things, all of the ideas of starting something new are just distracting you from the thing that you're doing. And the thing that you're doing is probably about to start working if you just stick to it long enough. And so there are many times where I have found myself on the verge of giving up and wanting to actually start something new. But what I actually needed to do was push through. And a perfect example of this was back in 2023. And I decided that I wanted to stop working so much with clients and I wanted to leverage this audience that I'd built for myself and start selling some kind of digital product. And so for 6 months or more, I tried really, really hard to make this thing work with zero results until I got to the point where I found myself on the phone to my mum in tears saying, I don't think this is going to work. I think I need to give this thing up, go back to what I'm doing, or maybe just start something completely new. And at this point, if I had given in to those doubts, if I had listened to that little voice in my head that told me it was time to give it up, then I wouldn't be where I am today. Because a week from that moment, I had my first successful digital product launch, and since then have built a hugely successful business off the back of these digital products. And so this is an example of where you're on the stage of a breakthrough and the worst thing you could do is quit and start something new. And I think knowing what I do now, the way that you know whether it's time to give up or whether it's time to keep pushing is if the thing you are heading towards is the thing that you really want. But the only reason you're thinking about quitting is because you're scared that it won't work out, you're scared that you don't have what it takes, or that this isn't actually possible for you. This is when you know that it's too soon to give up. And so for me, there have been so many moments throughout my business journey where I have just wanted to burn everything to the ground and start again. But usually this is self-doubt or shiny object syndrome, and I just need to keep pushing and working on the thing that I'm working on. But the way that I knew that this time was different and this wasn't actually self-doubt or shiny object syndrome, it was actually time for me to let go of the thing and step into this new season, was because I was continuing to do this thing because it was working and I thought that it's what I should be doing. 2 years ago, at the beginning of 2024, when I launched this last YouTube channel, I went very quickly from 0 to 20,000 subscribers in the first 3 months by sharing these really in-depth tutorial videos teaching other people how to build a web design business in the way that I had. And these were hugely successful, not just in the views and the growth of my channel, but also through the results that it created for my business and also the impact that it created for my audience. To this day, I have so many people messaging me, telling me the impact that this content had on their business, that it allowed them to finally go all in and give them the confidence to start booking clients. And so in any way that you look at this, it was a big success. And the smart thing to do for your business, especially when something works like this, is to double down on it and do more of it. And so the smart thing for me to do would have been to continue making web design content and continue leaning into this niche and helping this audience. And I really tried to do this. I really tried to just double down on creating web design content, but it got to the point that it felt impossible for me to even do it. I was waking up in the morning feeling intense anxiety and intense pressure to do this thing that I thought I should be doing. I had built this thing that was working, but for me, it no longer felt aligned. I was no longer excited about helping people grow their web design business. And this doesn't mean that it's not a good goal to have. At some point, this was my goal. And building my web design business honestly changed my life. It was the thing that showed me what was possible and showed me that I was capable of building this business and the life that I wanted for myself. But at this point, when I'm no longer doing this and I'm no longer excited about teaching other people how to do this, it just felt wrong to keep churning out this content and keep going on this path. And so it's not the smart business move, but anytime you're doing something because you think you should or because it's the safer option, but you just feel it in your body that it's just not aligned. And maybe it was aligned at one time, but it just doesn't feel right for this season that you're in, then maybe it's time to let it go and start building the thing that you really want to build. And so moving into this next season doesn't always mean that you have to burn everything else that you've built to the ground in order to do this. Technically, I didn't need to completely scrap my old channel and start again on here, but there's 2 reasons that I made the decision to do this. The first is just because of the way that YouTube works. I know technically that a lot of the audience that are following me on that other channel would be really excited to come and join me on this journey here. And I'm sure some of you watching this video have probably followed me on that other channel. But the reason that I wanted to start this new channel instead of continuing to post on that one is because a lot of that content on that channel is evergreen content. It's really useful content about how to build a successful web design business, and people are still finding these videos that I made 2 years ago, and they're still going and watching them and then buying my templates. And so for the sake of those people who are still trying to build their web design business and they're still trying to get a lot of value from these videos, I want to leave that old channel intact as a resource for these people instead of spamming it with all this new content with the new direction that I'm heading in. And so that's the first reason. The second reason is more of a personal decision. And I think sometimes when you enter a new season, you actually have to completely let go of your old identity. You have to shed a lot of those things that you're holding on to, the beliefs about yourself, the expectations, and you need an actual tangible physical shift in order to do this. And especially when it comes to creating content, when you are doing something so vulnerable and you're putting so much of yourself into this thing here, if there is anything that you can do to get out of your way and not limit your own mindset around this, what I mean by that is stop worrying what other people think about you or what you think you should be doing in your content. If there's anything that you can do to get rid of or at least limit all of these limiting mindsets and beliefs, then you should absolutely do this. If you need to block your friends and family, or if it means letting go of those 1,000 followers, or even those 40,000 followers like I did. If there's anything you can do to help you show up in a more authentic and aligned way, then you absolutely should. Which leads me pretty nicely into, what are we doing here? What am I doing on this channel here? And so if you're watching this video, you may already be creating content. Maybe you haven't even posted a video. Maybe you're a few years into it. Wherever you're at on your journey, we all know that this online space is getting kind of weird. And I don't have to tell you that with AI and all the other stuff. Now more than ever is the time to create a more real, authentic online presence. And I think the people who are going to thrive in this next period of time are the ones who are able to do this and create content that doesn't hide behind fancy editing or heavily scripted how-to informational content. And that's all I'm trying to do here. And it's also what I'm trying to help you do. Take the valuable things that you've done in your life and package it up in a way that is useful for somebody else and creates real impact. This is not just about sharing information. AI is going to have that covered. It's not about vlogging or sharing your whole life story. It's not about documenting every part of your life. It's about taking the things that you've been through and done in your life and sharing your insight and bringing more of your unique experience into your content to help somebody through a transformation. This is how you create this kind of real, authentic online presence and reputation around the thing that you do. And so the best vehicle for doing this, especially in 2026, is YouTube. I think that it's the place where you can create real depth, which makes it the most powerful platform that you can use to build an online presence, especially if you're trying to make something with impact and drive some sales from that. And so what you can do with a YouTube channel is kind of create your little corner of the internet and build this content world that takes your audience deeper and builds deeper trust and reputation. And it's kind of a different approach to content that is more slow and more intentional, and it creates impact without being loud or flashy or needing to go viral. And what you can do when you have this is you can combine this with a core offer that converts that trust that you're building in your content into income in a way that so naturally aligns with the reputation that you've built that your audience just kind of naturally slide into it. And so it becomes a natural next step for anybody who has spent any time in your content world. And so that's all that I'm trying to do here, and all that I want to help you do here is show up more authentically and then use that to build a business that sits naturally inside of your life and adapts as you evolve, and also adapts as the world evolves too. And so I'm not sat here in front of you as someone saying, oh yeah, this is easy, just do these 3 steps and you'll have a successful business. I understand that it's a difficult journey because it is a journey that I've been on for 5 years, and it's a journey that I am still on. I might be a few steps ahead of you with my filming setup, or my confidence with talking on camera, or my ability to tell a story with my content, but I by no means have everything figured out. I'm still on my own journey of figuring out what it means to build a business that feels aligned and create content that feels authentic. And being authentic is not just a switch that you turn on and off. It's kind of a journey of discovering yourself and discovering your story and showing up in a more and more authentic and aligned way over a long period of time. And I've seen this for myself in the way that I show up in my business outside of my content that I create here. I have done some small group coaching, and I feel the disconnect between how I show up in those sessions where I feel more confident, I feel more like myself, I feel like I'm just there to connect with the people in front of me, compared to how I show up in these videos where there's all this pressure to perform and to write a perfect script to perfectly optimize for retention and views and all of that shit. And so the challenge for myself with this channel is, can I create the type of connection and intimacy that I have created in those workshops and those group coaching sessions and replicate it here on this channel? And I think that it's really important to do this because you attract the vibe that you put out. You build authentic trust and relationships and genuinely help people in your content, in your life, and then the money and the business that you create kind of naturally flows from that. And I've experienced that time and time again over the last few years making content. The more authentic and freely that you can show up here, the more you just attract really genuine, like-minded people that want your experience and want the thing that you have to offer. And when you're able to do this, you don't have to hustle as hard and you don't have to sell in the same way as you do using all of these other marketing strategies. And so on here, I'm going to be focused on making the content that I want to make, making the content that is going to be most valuable for you trying to do the same thing that I am. And it's all about creating connection and relationships. It's not about metrics, because views and subscribers is not how you build real connection with people. And so this is not always going to be the content that gets the most clicks and has the most flashy titles and gets a lot of views and goes viral. And so if you're here on this journey with me and you don't want to miss anything, then make sure you're subscribed to this channel. I'm going to be posting on here 2 times a week. Once a week, there's going to be a no BS guide to share the strategies and the knowledge and the things that I've learned over the last 5 years. And so each video will be aimed at giving you the tools to help get you a little bit closer to being able to do what I'm doing here and build your own creator lifestyle business. And I'm going to put all of those videos in a playlist that you can just binge. And then the second type of video that I'm going to be posting once a week is a more raw, behind the scenes look at exactly what I'm building for myself. And you'll be able to see exactly what I'm working on and how I'm actually building this. And so if you liked the sound of what I'm talking about in this video and you want more of this, then I'm going to leave a link to a school community in the description. There's 0 upsells in this. It's completely free. It's just a place for us like-minded people to gather. And my goal with this community and with this channel is to have a very intimate community vibe with like-minded people. That's my goal for what I'm building here. And so if you join now, you'll actually be able to talk directly to me. That's the only reason that I've set this up. But otherwise, I appreciate you trusting me with your time, and I will see you in the next one.